And we need to learn how to be more involved and effective in our working relationships with the area board, the site director, and DMH administration. We're all in the learning curve, and we should feel really good about that. And we're just really proud to be part of all of you. Oh.
Thank you, Alan. You did good with the time.
Yeah. A miracle. It's a miracle.
And I just want to say that I've heard a lot of positive feedback about the Brain Matters event that you had. It was very well. It was an excellent event. And also want to thank you too for participating on the clubhouse reviews. Added a lot of value to the meeting. So thank you for that. So next, representing the Fall River site is Brenda Bennis.
Good morning. What I'd like to say about the Corrigan Site Board is that we have a number of our community partners on it, which is our police, a former police officer. We have someone in the community that works for housing. We have a former nurse from Taunton State that worked at Taunton State. Families that have people with mental illness. We have a very wide variety of people involved. What are our accomplishments? Well, we work along with NAMI Bristol County, and what we do is we have our candlelight vigil to make sure that we have stigma, that people are aware of the services that we have. We also have community conversations. We've had a number of community conversations because we know that the people in our community need our resources. They need to know about what's going on and how to get that resources. And another thing that we also do is we know that our clients need a lot of services and help, which we're involved with NAMI, Project Underwear, Garment for our Angels, which is the DMH group homes in the area will get undergarments. And that is something that the board at Corrigan is working on. And also working on a new, come October the 4th, it's going to be a panel, our community conversation, which will have homelessness, housing, addiction, suicide, crisis, recovery, all at one table, letting the people know with a very large resource table so that people know exactly where to go for services, how they can get the services, and of course to let them know that Corrigan is a friendly place to come. What we have difficulty and our challenges is our housing, just like everyone else. Housing, it seems to be a challenge for us, especially in the Fall River area. With 2 new developers building, I'm hoping to talk to them and see if I can get some housing for our people to get into there. So like everyone else, we're plugging along, and it's good that Corrigan is working with NAMI on knowing all these services and all these services that are provided, and working with our vendors. And one last word I want to say, we have the most wonderful director, Frank O'Reilly, a man that I can tell you, I can give him brainstorms, but he's always welcome to hear what I have to say, and the board. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brenda. And also, for those who may not know, Brenda won the Myra Craft Award this year. So congratulations. Thank you for all that you do, Brenda. I think those community conversations, they really make a world of a difference. So thank you for doing that. Next, for the New Bedford Site Board, we have Maureen Sylvia.
Yep.
Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you. the general list of our accomplishments and challenges in your packets. But one of, echoing everybody else's, we were successful with using all of the rental assistance vouchers that were offered to our area through GMH, and in fact, we're able to utilize a few more. On the challenge side is there's still a lot more that we need for the housing, so I'm glad that's a focus of today. We've also been doing more activities and outreach in the community. Again, I also would like to thank Brenda Bennett from NAMI for coming over to New Bedford to help provide the Family to a Family program for education. It's basically a sold-out group this time that we're offering it, and we hadn't offered it in a long time. Also doing monthly family support groups. And then also thanks to our DMH office in New Bedford and Lynn, we have been doing more community events. So we're participating in health fairs. We're having special events during the AHA nights that are very popular in New Bedford, both for young children activities, but then also having guest speakers to kind of help to break down the stigma and to tell some of the success stories that are out there if we have the community supports available. We've also been doing more sharing of information about flyers for other tangentially related activities through a very serious email chain. I get all these emails, and sometimes it's like every single week I could go to one or two related events, so that's great because we didn't have a lot of that going on before. In terms of our challenges, we need to recruit more members for our site board and also retain the ones that we've been able to recruit. Sometimes it has to do with a professional change of jobs, and somebody who's been on the board gets a new job and now they're out of the area, or they're no longer able to meet the time when we're meeting. But we do have a loyal group of folks who make the meetings, and one of the pluses on our meetings has been that we've had guest speakers come in. So lots of times we'll have a conversation around the table, and we have questions about services at the Bristol County House of Corrections for inmates who have mental health issues. And then we'll reach out and bring somebody in to talk to that. And after they leave, we still have more questions about the services and treatment for folks with mental health in the correctional system, and that is one of our concerns going forward as well. Another one is lessening the stigma of mental health, and another one of our goals for this coming year is to have more input when DMH plans their legislative breakfast up on the Hill. We'd like to see more advocacy instead of it just being sort of a show and tell day. We'd like more along NAMI's, Mass NAMI's agenda is to actually hand people, here's some talking points, here's what's important, now go out and knock on those doors of your reps and senators and let them know that this is a concern of yours as a constituent. So we'd like to be more involved with that. And of course, just the lack of affordable housing, and then also, and I'm hoping this afternoon we'll hear about that, how to let people know how to access affordable housing. There's a lot of misconception out there, and I think sometimes, especially for folks who have been through the system, that becomes an issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. And also I must say that this was the first year that I was able to attend the New Bedford event back in September. It was fantastic. The theme was on suicide awareness. Awesome event, great speakers. So thank you.
Not some great weather, but
It wasn't great weather, but the spirit was there. Okay. For the Plymouth site, I would like to invite Bill Bombardier,
She's got
the Plymouth Site Board President.
Okay, I think, hi, low. I think the first thing I want to mention is how excited we are that we've got a new site board director, Fumi Agucha, and we're just thrilled that to have her with us. We've already started a lot of things going on. We did lose 3 site board members this year. Unfortunately, we now don't have any clients, mental health clients on the site board, so we're going to be working on that as a goal. We also have 1 new site board director, and this is a terrific addition because he's a retired police detective, John Rogers, who is working with, he's coordinator now for Plymouth County Outreach, and they have a almost $2.5 million 3-year grant to provide services to mental health clients, similar to what we have in the area for drug programs, where if somebody has an overdose in drug, the police will go in the next day with a counselor, and a plainclothes officer will go in, and they'll work to get the person into a treatment program. We're going to start the same thing with mental health clients, where a plainclothes officer and a counselor will go in to try to help the person get treatment that they need. And that's for 27 counties in the South Shore area. So it's a pretty big program, and we're happy to have John join our board. Other things we've done, we've been in touch with Commissioner McCullough, because the Plymouth site is one of the 3 in the southeast area that don't have a therapeutic respite program or a TRP, and that's kind of concerning to us. The Cape has been great in taking our people in, but it's still a long distance for a lot of people to go. It's hard for the families to get there to support them. And I've also learned since then that there's a mobile outreach or a mobile encounter type program that we don't have any of the services for that because we don't have a TRP in there. So that's an important goal that we have coming up. We are now working, we haven't had a community conversations in a little over a year. We're working on one now. It's going to be in January for enhancing employment opportunities for people with mental health. And we've got a lot going on that. We're meeting every couple of weeks in preparation for that meeting. We also participated in the South Shore Behavioral Health Fair that's sponsored. It was they call it Kingston Collection now. It used to be the mall. And that was a pretty packed thing with vendors and support and stuff. And I know that they're planning a 3rd one this year. So when that comes out next year, if you happen to be in the area to see, really thorough, complete job. I mean, we just, a one group that goes there. I mean, there's just organizations and vendors and suppliers there, and that's a great program. We participated in the Plymouth Site Mental Health Awareness event that they had at the clubhouse in May. And we also had 3, when we can, we try to bring in speakers, the service area into our board meetings. We had 3 outside speakers come into board meetings this year. Pembroke Hospital was with us last February, and they're trying to actually regroup and do a lot. And it's been great to have them. We had Mass Health come in. Brooke Doyle from DMH and Stephanie Brown from Mass Health came in. And if you want a group presentation and want something thorough and different programs, those a couple of people that you'd really like to have come into your board meetings. We learned so much from those people, and it was a great communication. And we also had a vendor, TMS Achieve, which is a new program in the area to treat depression, came in a couple of weeks ago. So for accomplishments, I mean, it was a pretty good year for us. Our concerns, obviously, housing shortages. We'll talk about that a lot today. That's why we're here. I talked about the therapeutic respite program. We have some concern. We're watching anyhow that there's a high vacancy rate on full-time employees for the ACCS program, and it's running at about 19% employment vacancy rate, and that to me is very problematic. In fact, according to their reports, just for for the GLE employees, that the vacancy rate was almost 4,800 days, not hours, days, in the last contract review. So they claim that they're being filled, but I worry about the consistency and, you know, all of that is so important to people with mental health issues. And then our director, and I was taking a lot of notes when Brockton was talking here, because Fumi has been after us to develop the Friends of Plymouth Mental Health Site Board, and so she's making that our goal. I thought we were supposed to be trying to get her to tell her what to do. It works a different way sometimes in Plymouth, but it's a great group. So that's one of our big goals for this year.
Thank you, Phil, so much. And also, I look forward to the community conversation on employment. I can't wait to attend that and be a part of that.
We'll sell you a ticket.
Okay, at this time, I would like to invite Jean Giangrandi from the Quincy Site Board.
Thank you, Kim. The Southeast Quincy Site Board serves 10 towns, and our accomplishments has been, we have a new director that has been appointed. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're continuing with our survey that we have started probably about 8 or 9 months ago. It's a needs assessment survey for all stakeholders. And at our next meeting, we'll be generating a report that we can prioritize and set up our yearly goals and strategic plan. We have been monitoring and participating in the respite and the PAC programs, contract programs. We've been trying to recruit members. We presently now have members from 7 of our towns, and we have a total of 12 members. Most of our members are working members in the field. They are either people served, first responders, or outreach personnel. And their participation in collecting information and keeping us informed has been greatly appreciated. The only problem is unfortunately a lot of them can't attend meetings because they are working in the field. We had a visit from our Senator John Keenan, who talked about his experience in Greece, which was post-traumatic situations and the coping and mechanisms and the issues that they had to endure while they had a tragic incident. And that was very informative. He talked a lot about mental health around those issues. Our event programs that are happening in the area is one of our most rewarding, has been the opening of the pharmacy at the Quincy site, and it was opened in December, and the ribbon cutting was October 12th. And this was due to, I have to give great thanks to Mona McKinnon, who started the initiative, and she was our former site director, who has now moved on to bigger and better things in Brockton. And we thank her for that. We've been in the community, they've been having ride-alongs with the 3 towns, which means social workers go out with the police or the fire or first responders and hopefully divert some of the potential issues around the mentally ill, which helps keeps them out of the emergency rooms and out of the jail systems, which has been wonderful. South Shore Mental Health is now called Aspire, and that's who the Department of Mental Health has. We have the contract with Aspire for our ACCS program. And they are focused in building a supportive community. and serve and tailor everything to the way people live, which has been a great contribution to the area. Braintree and Quincy, through the providers and the first responders, have developed a multi-service meeting and discipline to get together to discuss issues and situations and solutions around what's happening in the different towns. And the board, our advisory board, is participating and welcome, and it's a great method of communication. South Shore Hospital, with Aspire, has developed a bridge program with the money that was donated by the Grayson family. And the program is going to start it started last week, and it will be in full action probably in November. And the program is designed to give access to outpatient care more readily until the client can see their regular provider. And they will be doing a presentation to our board soon. So this is a great service that is done. As you know, that when people have an issue with or a relapse or so forth, getting to see their psychiatrist or their provider is very difficult to get appointments. So this is like a bridgeway to that, so that they can stay out of the emergency room and in the jail system. A GLE was opened up in Norwell recently under Aspire, and they have 6 beds as a group living experience, which has been a great contribution. Our challenges has been, of course, attendance to the board meetings because of the board people that are serving are working in the community. Education of the board members on what board is all about and how effective it can be, and with some DMH training is needed. New director position being finalized. More advocacy around, as we all know, transportation, housing, and education. Engaged, we would like to be engaged into the Chinar program, which is the Community Health Needs Assessment Program. And our goal is to be part of the State Advisory Board. I do want to address quickly, as our invited guest has asked us, as input from us as stakeholders. Our strengths at DMH has included the interest of the citizens and the walks of life, of all walks of life of persons served into the voluntary board. So this having the board has been a great asset. Our gaps have been identified in communication and education of new prospective volunteers for the board members. Issues facing the Southeast regions are, of course, in housing for the person served and the state budget to help support this. Even though it has shown some progress and it is difficult to address the needs with the present budget and the personnel to negotiate with legislation and affordable housing programs as for the towns and cities that we serve. The needs assessment is a tool to be developed to educate the boards and to be shared by staff in their prospective communities they serve. The Southeast Region Site Board will continue to recruit and outreach the community to develop a working relationship to benefit the stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean, so much, and thank you for your board to take the time and answering some of the questions that Donna and Jennifer had. Much appreciated. And also great work with your recruiting efforts. And we also greatly appreciate your participation on the contract monitoring reviews. It's been really helpful. Thank you. So next, representing the Taunton Attleboro Site Board is Vincent Guerrier.
Our president wasn't able to be here today, And so I volunteered to read what Dan had prepared. Is that all right? Thank you. We have a small board, and so we only have a few members, maybe 4 active members. And we're very enthusiastic about what we want to do for mental health. And we have an excellent facilitator, and Taunton Director, Ian Fisher. He always has transportation for us. He always tells us when the meetings are. Has a wonderful meal for us at supper time. And he's trying everything, and we're all trying to get membership, but it's a very difficult thing. But we do have some accomplishments, despite the fact we're very small. We have a very successful community we had a very successful community conversation on September 18th entitled, "Where and How Do I Get Help?" It was very well received, especially by local providers who reviewed the services they offered and connected with other providers. It became a networking event. The site board hosted the staff of the Taunton Nursing Home, which is slated to close by the city of Taunton. It is already closed. Staff were welcome to come to the board meeting, that staff of the nursing home, to share their concerns and to receive support from the community. While only a few nursing and direct care staff were able to be present, it was clear that the entire remaining staff appreciated the effort made by a community board in supporting them and caring about how they were dealing with the closure, the loss of their jobs, and most importantly, the forced movement and ultimate loss of residents they care for. And of course, as I mentioned before, our challenges, the main challenge is recruitment and retention of site board members. Not that we haven't done all we can, and Dan has been very good at it too. But we just hope the future will be better as far as having more people advocate for the mentally ill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent, very much. And also, sorry to have missed your community conversation. I think that's great that you had one and you're planning another one. And I think it's great that your board is becoming active. Good work. All right, next I would like to invite Alan Burt, who will discuss the accomplishments and challenges of the area board.
Still the 5-minute rule, Jack?
Yes.
As you all know, John Bavay stepped down as the president of the area board last year, and when it came time for the nominations, all of our heads went down because nobody in their right mind would want to, follow in the footsteps of John. Next thing I know, my name is being mentioned. I look up, deer in the headlights, and I hear a second and a motion, and it's approved. And I'm like, what? And Jack goes, now you're the president. Life happens fast, doesn't it? So here I am. So, accomplishments. The area board has increased time and focus on reports from site boards at the area board meetings. Input from the site boards is very important. It's taken us a while to really grasp that, and we spend a lot of time listening to your reports, and it's really, really important. The Orientation and Education Subcommittee is the committee from the area board that puts together the annual meeting. And again, the input from all of you and your feedback today will be really important for next year's meeting. The area board has further developed its role and function in making recommendations to the commissioner through Buddy Baker-Smith. And 2 recommendations were made this past year, which are pending, and we'll certainly inform you of the decision. One of them is the recommendation that the contracts for clubhouse vendors include the requirement for training and certification to the international clubhouse model. We just feel that that's really important. And the second one is important for advisory board members to visit clubhouses and residential programs. And we're in discussions with Buddy on that, and again, we'll keep you informed of those recommendations. Area board members, along with site board members, have been participating in contract monitoring reviews with DMH vendors and clubhouses, the ACCS, respite and PAC programs. Initially, I thought that was going to be kind of like, boring, but it really is an exciting thing to do, and I think we're all learning a lot more about what's happening out there with programs and services, and a real good place for our input to be included. So it was kind of a surprise to me, which I'm really happy with. We've begun conversations. We do have the Massachusetts Association for Mental Health folks here today, and we're looking forward to developing a working partnership to get beyond just their visit today and presentation, along with Mark Bilton, the housing specialist from DMH, that let's continue this conversation and working partnership with them. The area board did meet with Joanne Barrows, Director of Mental Health for the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, because we all have concerns about the services, the rights and the needs of the mentally ill that are incarcerated, because there's work to be done there. The area board, again, has met with Mark Bilton, I just mentioned that. The area board has also met with DMH Child, Youth, and Family Services Division to develop more effective relationship with them. Challenges. The area board will work harder with DMH in making trainings available to advisory board members. We've been a little bit stuck with discussing it again and again because it's meaningful, but we just need to make it happen. And the area board will work harder on that this year with DMH on providing some trainings. Although the area board has talked about the importance for it to become more involved in advocacy with legislators, again, that's just something that I guess we need to learn a little bit more about ourselves, and we need your help on that as well. Maybe we need to develop a special committee for that, become the specialists, the advocates that go to the State House and advocate for DMH, because there's some things that DMH can advocate with legislators and some things that they can't. So we have opportunities, and we need to learn about where does DMH begin and end. We don't want to interfere with their efforts, but what can we advocate for that maybe they can't? So there really is a powerful opportunity there. And again, we're just going to continue to explore and develop our role with the advisory boards. We're a work in progress. Again, many of us that have been around, I've been working in the field for over 40 years now, which makes me older, but a lot was done decades ago and accomplished, and now we're kind of in that area of kind of rediscovering and reformulating, who and what we are and what we can accomplish. And I think there's a lot we can accomplish, so we can feel really good about the good old days, what has been accomplished, and look forward to days ahead in our continuing relationship and development with each other. So that's a report from the area board. Keep your head up. Next thing you know, you're elected. Okay, sure. Any just questions from any of the presentations? How are we with time, Kim?
We're good. It's about 10 o'clock.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions or comments they'd just like to add to the flow? Okay. Yes, buddy. Oh.
I'm just wondering, do you have any ideas about how to better recruit members of these boards and site boards and area boards?
That's a good question. I think that's a question we're all struggling with. The one idea I came up with in a discussion today is if we can ask each other on the boards to make a commitment of bringing a board member on, get people to say, yes, I will, yes, I will. And I think my experience is sometimes when board members come on, it was my experience too, you really don't kind of know, well, what am I supposed to do? Is when we bring a board member on, let's be their mentor. We bring this person in, let's look for younger people, people that are knowledgeable, that get energy and commitment and can really make some stuff happen with our mentorship. So there's maybe less for us to do, more for them to do. But I think we need to stay with them when we get them on the board to appreciate, thank you for joining and developing that special mentoring relationship with them, because most of us in boards, we've been around for a long time, we've got a lot of knowledge and wisdom. Maybe we don't have as much get up and go anymore, but we could pass on our wisdom to inspire board members. But I think getting a commitment from our board members to at least bring one board member on a year would make sense. And nobody's allowed to leave without being replaced.
Encourage them along, mentoring them, that's important too.
Exactly. Okay, Buddy?
Yes, I just, some of my reflection on what's been shared. One thing I wanted to mention is the area board is working on a training that can be offered to all new and existing citizen advisory board members. So all of the things that one would want to know about, should know about the department or know about how to participate in contract monitoring. We have board members who participate in the hiring of site directors and some key positions like that. So to kind of lay that out, including sort of how to be welcoming to new board members and ideas and suggestions around that. So we actually have kind of a scope of all of the categories or things we want to address, and are now at the process of starting to outline in a very concise way what are those key points to make in each of these. So something that we would then want to make available probably online that one can access. So an easy thing to access, it's available across the Southeast. Just another reflection is from the variety of things that have been actions shared. I have to say that the partnership between the department and the advisory boards really, I think, has a great amount of potential that people are starting to tap. And I'm glad that sort of Fumi is an example of it. Is a two-way street, as Phil finds out. When we see that really as a partnership, there are things that we can say to a board, this is something that we think is important and need, and it's